Welcome to a lesson with Dr. Powell. Let's take a look at now how this graphs from the last example. So we took this function and we determined its horizontal transformations and its vertical ones. Okay, maybe we should get some beginning ideas about the original graph 1 over x. Okay. So in the graph 1 over x, remember, this graph looks something like this and like that, right? Okay, it has some beginning features, namely y equals 0 is a horizontal asymptote, and x equals 0 is a horizontal asymptote. We also have the point 1, 1. Let's use these three features and see how they change in order to graph the result. Okay, first, let's look at the asymptotes. This asymptotes is a y equals 0. Okay, so we have a y value of 0 that we're going to be looking at. Let's see how that y value changes in these transformations. Now, the horizontal transformations do nothing to that y value, but the vertical ones do. In fact, let's just look in order. First thing we do is multiply by 2. Then we multiply by -1. Then we add 7, all to that 0. Well, multiplication by 2 and -1 preserve that y value as 0, so it's just still 0. And then we add 7, so this asymptote will go up to y equals 7. Now, what about this vertical asymptote line, x equals 0? Let's take a look at what the x transformations are. Simply, to the x values, the operation is subtract 1. So that's precisely what we do with this x value of 0. We subtract 1 to give us -1. 0 minus 1 is -1, and that's our new vertical asymptote. So when we draw the resulting graph, our asymptotes are going to be at 7, y equals 7, and at -1. All right, now let's see where the point 1, 1 will end up being. So let's just work through that, thinking about the different transformations that we have computationally. First, the x value, what happens to it? Simply just subtract 1. So we're going to get a 0 on the x value. Now, what about the y? So we first multiply by 2, then -1, then we add 7. So we get 2. Then we multiply by -1 to get -2. Then we add 7 to finally arrive at 5. Okay, so it looks like we get 0 and we go up 5, maybe right here. So we have a point right there. So then it'll look like, so it's this and it'd be modeled up, down. Now, notice it's been reflected apparently. And the transformation is going to preserve this basic idea of these parts of the graph being crisscross. So that means the other part of the graph will be symmetric that way up there. And so we're done with the graph. So we have just drawn how this transforms into this graph right here, where this point right here we can label as 0, 5. We have this line labeled as y equals 7, and this one as x equals -1. Thanks for watching.